Dani Flynn. I have been a wellness advocate since 2018. I live in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Last year, I got an opportunity to participate in the Refer a Friend and the affiliate pilot. And I got to share some of my experiences at leadership. So hopefully maybe some of you were there to see it. But I got a lot of questions afterwards about specifically how to leverage the Refer a Friend program for our businesses, like how I was planning to do it. So that's what I thought I'd share with you guys today. I'm still working a few things out, but that is the goal. But first, I want to share some exciting news. If you follow me on social media, you already know. But last month, my team and I, we hit a big goal. We hit platinum. It felt so good putting platinum on my presentation. It was such a big goal. It's something that I have tried to do literally for 2 years. 2 years I've been trying to hit platinum. And there have been many failed attempts, okay? When we finally did it, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for me because it really aligned me to my longer term goals. And so I spent this weekend really reflecting on the journey, right? The whole journey that got me here. And it kind of very loosely reminded me of one of my favorite childhood movies. You're gonna probably guess my age when I share it with you, but The Wizard of Oz. It is a classic. It's so old, I couldn't even get a clear image for the presentation. So if you're not familiar with this movie, or maybe you haven't seen it in a long time, I wanna just kind of give you a little recap of The Wizard of Oz. So Dorothy was off to see the wizard because she was trying to get back home. That was her goal. She was trying to get back to Kansas. The journey, though, for her was tough. There was this wicked witch that was stalking her. There was some mean flying monkeys. I mean, it was all kinds of characters. But she also met some really great friends along the way. Some people that she learned from, and they had different strengths, and they helped her get to Emerald City. Well, she finally gets there, and she meets the wizard and finds out like he's a fake. But then Glinda, the good witch of the north, she reappears. She helped her at the beginning, and she reappears. And if you're familiar with the movie, do you remember what Glinda tells her? So Dorothy says to her, "Can you help me? Can you help me get back home?" And Glinda says, "You don't need me. You've always had the power." Right? So her friends, they were like, "Well, why didn't you tell us that, before we walked down this yellow brick road?" And Glinda says, "You wouldn't have believed me." She wouldn't have believed me. She had to learn it for herself. And so Dorothy starts to recount all the things that she learned throughout the journey. And it was really quite simple. But the thing is, she had to figure that out for herself, right? So all that time, Dorothy was relying on everything else, the ruby slippers, Glinda, her friends, the wizard, but she had the power all along, right? And once she learned to tap into that power, that's when she realized her goal. Now, for me, my journey has been tough. There have been many, many challenges, so many disappointments, so much failure along the way. And for a lot of that time, I was relying on external factors to be the thing that would help me reach my goal, right? If I could just get a mentor, if I could just find the builders, if I could get enough customers. And then I was like, I got to get into the affiliate program, and Meta Power Line, right? All these external factors. But the reality is, I've had the power all along. I just had to learn it for myself. It turns out the thing that made the biggest difference in my business was me. When they announced the double the bubble, I was like, okay, we can't play games anymore. And that's when I started to show up as a true entrepreneur, working my business consistently day in and day out, and just not giving up throughout this whole journey. Now, my journey's not over. I still have a way to go, but I have learned a few things that I want to share with you guys. It's not the upline. It's not the downline. It's not even the programs or the products in and of themselves. The key to success is me. And it's the same is true for you. So as we begin talking about these strategies and ideas that you might be able to implement into your business, you have to remember that it's not the products or the programs alone that will bring you success. It's what we do with them, right? All right. So keeping that in mind, let's talk about how we can leverage some of these new programs as tools for our respective businesses. Now, I try to look at everything through the lens of pipes. That's the foundation of our business. And this approach works pretty well for these programs as well. So let's talk about how you can prepare. So as you start with anything new, I always think it's a good idea to ask yourself, like, what's my end game? What's my ultimate goal here? So once you know what you're shooting for down the line, then you're going to know if you're succeeding or not, right? I'm a big fan of creating SMART goals, goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. It's not, I want to grow my business. No, it's a specific goal for your business. Now, I recommend that you do this for both your long-term goals, your end game, but then also for all of the short-term goals that will help you get to the long-term goals, right? Knowing what your end game is how you're going to decide which programs, if any, to focus on. And I want to be clear about that, right? Because we're all in different places in our businesses. What works for one may not work for the other, and that's okay. That's okay. But when we are clear on our goals, both long-term and short-term, we're going to be crystal clear on how we implement them, if we choose to implement them at all. Now, some of you may be like, well, I know what I want my long-term goal to be. I want to be founder. I want to be diamond, whatever. But maybe you don't know how to create those short-term goals that will help you reach the bigger goals. So just a couple of tips. Well, actually, it's one. Work backwards. Right? So what I do, and I've done this for years, I come from a corporate background. I worked in business management, and this is kind of how we did it, right? So we would brain dump. We would write everything down about our long-term goals. So we know this is where we want to be 3 years. And to write all the things that need to happen, right? Up to that goal, going backwards. Might be unstable. Okay, I'm gonna check the chats now, make sure I'm still good. You guys, give me a thumbs up if I'm still with you. Okay, you're here. Okay, good. I was like, oh no. All right, so write down the long-term, write down the long-term goals and then all the short-term goals that will back up to that, right? And then what I do is then I take those goals and I break them into months. Okay. And that brings some clarity and that helps me to know where to focus, because otherwise for me, I'm a squirrel and I'm like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do all the things, but what am I gonna do today? Right? So by looking at the long term and then breaking it down into smaller bite-sized pieces, for me, it just helps me to make sure I'm still on the path to meeting my goals. And so then it will help you really focus on a month-to-month basis. So let me give you an example of what that might look like and how it could be different for different people. Okay, and it could affect how you use these programs. So 2 scenarios, both people are shooting for founders, right? They have until August to close this thing out. So in scenario A, you have you're silver. You've hit silver once. You have no real builders. So you got to go to work, right? You got to find some. You got to be recruiting. So your short-term goals for the month of April might look like, I'm going to host 6 classes. I'm going to recruit 2 hours a day. I'm going to shoot to enroll 10 people. Just making this up. That might be the goal for a person that in this situation. In this scenario, you might decide that in April, you won't focus heavily on refer a friend. Maybe you'll include it in each of your classes. Maybe you'll post about it on social media, but your goal for this month is recruiting business partners. You're super clear about that, right? Because you know where you got to be in August. So that's why it's so important that you have the goal first, right? We don't want to spin our wheels. Now, another scenario might be you've hit platinum twice. You got to hit it one more time, but you got 2 weak legs. In this instance, your goal for April would be to focus on strengthening those weak legs. So what you might do in April is schedule, work with your team to create a calling tree. And maybe you'll focus on those 2 weak legs and call each of those customers and tell them about, their strong LRPers, tell them about the Refer a Friend program, right? Maybe you'll schedule weekly check-ins with your team. You'll track your progress. You'll share your wins that worked really well for my team this past month. Maybe you'll go to social media and you'll educate, twice a day, and you'll include a link to purchase with the waived enrollment 5 times a week, whatever your goal is, but it's very specific based on where you are. So having clarity on your goals is going to help you to determine which tools to leverage and how to focus on them if you do it at all. We don't have to do everything that's rolling out all at once. Maybe we do it, in progression. All right, I hope that was helpful. Now, let's talk about how to invite. Now, before I tell you my strategy for inviting, as it relates to Refer a Friend, you need to know that my top 2 strengths are activator and strategy, in that order. And so at the beginning of my doTERRA career, I moved really quick. I started implementing new ideas I would have an idea, like, go. That's just how I worked. I had no solid strategy, but I have learned that moving quick seems efficient, but for me, it has not proven to be effective. So I've slowed down, especially when it comes to inviting. So in this case, we're inviting people to participate in Refer a Friend and eventually the affiliate beta, right? So I know, guys, it might seem more efficient to send a blast text message or a blast email to all your customers and tell them about this new amazing program that doTERRA just rolled out and how excited you are about it. That's how I used to do things. But one of the most powerful things that I've learned from my amazing mentor is it's not about me. It's not about the products that I love. It's not about the programs that I'm so excited about. It's not about the company that I adore. It's not about me. It's about them. It's about their needs. And the only way you're going to know what they need is to ask them questions. You got to get them talking. You got to find a way to invite them in a way that works for them. Right? And that's really hard to do on text message and email. It's so much better over the phone or in person even. And so for me, here's what I'm doing to leverage the Refer a Friend program. I'm being very specific, right? First thing, I'm doing a calling tree, scrubbing my organization. I'm very clear on my weak legs because I've been tracking it for months. 2 years I've been tracking it, right? So I'm very clear on the legs that need the most support. So for me, you need, if you're trying to solidify platinum, you need, 9 elite. So I'm focusing on, the 2 or 3 legs that need the most love, right? All right, scrubbing, just going through, I'm looking at the comments. So scrubbing means you just kind of go through your organization and reach out to those customers, see who's placing monthly LRPs, etc. All right, then I'm going to pick up the phone and call them. And I'm not a phone person, just so you know. I don't actually enjoy talking on the phone. However, it is very effective. So if you're a texter like me, maybe you'll text first and say, hey, I want to chat with you about something specific. Do you have a second to chat? And then, I call them. And then the first thing that we try to say on the phone is, hey, I want to talk to you about something specific, but first, how are you? Right? So we're not, sneaking them into a conversation about the business, right? We're just letting them know I want to talk to you about something specific, but first let's catch up a little bit. So you ask them about their family, about what they're doing for spring break, how the new job is going, etc. And then you want to do the thing. You want to listen. You want to listen. You want to take notes, because what happens when you're listening is they might tell you exactly why the Refer a Friend program is perfect for them, or why the affiliate program is going to be phenomenal for them. Or you might hear that they're ready to join you and do the business. You might hear those things in the conversation that will allow you to naturally bring it up. So when they do say something, then you say, well, that's why I called you. That's exactly why I called you, right? Okay, so what if they don't say something that lends itself naturally to you bringing up these programs? Then you can just thank them. Thank you for being such a loyal customer. You've been amazing. I know you love the oils. I can see that you've been ordering, every month for the past 6 months, over 100 PV. Like, tell me what products you love the most, right? Listen to them a little bit more, right? And then when you find the right moment, that's when you want to say, like, I really thought about you because, right? So you want to invite them to the program, but give them a specific reason why it's a good fit for them. Right? I thought about you because I know you're a massage therapist and I know your clients, they have achy legs or back, whatever, right? I think deep blue might be really good for you, right? Or maybe that their sister is going through something and lavender might be really good for her, right? So say it, be specific. Listen, it's not quick and dirty. It's not. It's gonna take you some time to do this. For me, I'm gonna be blocking an hour per conversation because every time I get on the phone with one of my customers, it's 30 minutes to an hour, but it is so worth it. That's what builds lifelong doTERRA customers. And these are our loyal customers, right? They're worth a little bit of our time. But it's just so much more effective as well. So win-win for both of us, right? All right, so then my notes say I was going to be creating a simple graphic that explains the program, but I'm going to actually spend some time in the DMK to see what's there. But just this conversation really is about just gauging their interest, seeing if they're interested. And then you can schedule another time to chat to really help them understand how the program might work for them. And that's going to depend on the person, okay? So next we have present and enroll. And I kind of just put these together because for this program, refer a friend, this is really about showing them how the program works and how it might benefit them. It's about showing them how to send a link, how to redeem doTERRA dollars, how to tap into their network. I'm still working out what that's going to look like for my team. But what I have learned from the other pilots is the best thing you can do for yourself, your team, and your potential referrers or sharers is to keep it as simple as possible, as simple as possible. And in fact, I try to say the words, it's so simple, it's really easy, right? Just so that we start to train everybody's brains. It's simple, it's easy. I don't include a lot of detail up front, let them process it and then move at their own pace. For the affiliate program, I found that making short video tutorials was the way to go. 2 to 3 minutes each, and I'd have a series of them and I would send them when they were ready for the next one. It worked really, really well. What I would do is go onto Zoom and record it so that they can see exactly where I was clicking within my organization. Excuse me, on the computer. They can see exactly where you're clicking and they kind of understand. And I've sent this to many people, to many affiliates, and they didn't even respond with a question or anything. They were just able to immediately enroll people. So that's what you want. You want them to be able to move quick, right? And we want to make it easy and simple. Now, if you have several people who are a little more business savvy, then maybe you can plan a group call. That works for affiliates. I did have some success with the affiliate program in that way. They found it helpful, but for some of them that wanted the call over just a short video, I still needed to give them a little bit of one-on-one support, so just so you know. And then for those that I did need to walk through the program with, what I would do is we do a Zoom, right? If it's just one-on-one, we do a Zoom, and then I would have them share their screen. And then I would show them how to navigate, but they're actually navigating. And I think that's the best way. I do that with customers as well. That's the best way for them to start to get familiar with how to do things, right? Okay, so whatever you do, whether it's the video or the classes or one-on-ones, keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it simple, all right? I use Zoom to do the video tutorials. I keep it real simple. All right, so the most important part, this is the part I'm still working out, is how are you going to support them? You could potentially be getting tons of new customers every day with this program, and you don't know them, right? But again, our goal is to create lifelong doTERRA customers, so we've got to get to know them. We've got to be ready to support and educate those new customers coming in, as well as the people who are referring those customers to us. We've got to be sure to support and educate them. So many awesome things that we can leverage now from the DMK. A few tips that I'll share is find out what their goal is, right? Again, it's about them. It's not about us. So finding out what their goal is will help you to figure out how you need to support them. So some people may just have a couple of family members if they want to get started, no big deal. Some people might have an interest in actually in the business. Maybe they're just testing the business with refer a friend or the affiliate, right? So find out whatever their goals are, and then be prepared to support them based on what they want to do. It's not a one size fits all. We want to make this process as easy as possible for them. That's our job. Our job is to make it as easy as possible for them, right? And so we don't want to bombard them with text messages and emails and all that if their goal is much smaller than that, right? So make sure you know what they want and then cater your support to that. And you want to be prepared to provide more support upfront, right? When you're starting to onboard people onto these programs, especially if they're going to be really active, you might want to bring them on in waves so that you aren't so overwhelmed, right? That's just a word from the wise. It happened to me. And then if you have a customer that's really interested in sharing their link a lot, then you may want to consider, sending them monthly promo messages, checking in on them quarterly, invite them to the classes that you're hosting and ask them if they maybe want to host a class. But whatever you do, keep it simple and be consistent month over month, right? The level of support that these people, if they need more support from you, that could be indicative of the fact that they may be interested in building or sharing as a wellness advocate down the line. So really nurture those relationships and try to support them as much as you can. And then you also want to discuss how you're going to support the referrals that are coming in. Again, keep it simple. It doesn't need to be long and drawn out. For my affiliates and my customers, I just said something like, you share your link with someone new, I will reach out and introduce myself, and I'll make sure that they know how to get started with their products, right? I assure them that they don't have to answer questions, that I will be there to provide customer service support, and they like that. They really like that. So yeah, keep it simple, but do let them know that you're going to be reaching out to the people that they bring on. And then of course, I really try to make myself available to those people. Some of my affiliates and customers who were referring people, they wanted me to be there. They wanted me to be a part of the conversation, to introduce them to, the products, or to do like a one-on-one. And so I did it. I made myself available because that's a great way to connect with those referrals. And people come in and out of these programs, right? So you want them to be connected with you so that if they have questions, they know, where to go, right? And again, I share my upcoming classes. I share continuing education so that they can invite their friends. And just, again, we want to make it as easy as possible. And finally, simplify the process with automation. I am working on simple automated processes to support all of my new customers and all of the referrals. I'm using email and text drips. I use Shout for text, and I use Flowdesk, I think is what it's called, for email. And I'm new to both of them. I'm just figuring it out, but they're easy to use, which is what I needed. The content is basically the same for all of the different groups. I just kind of modify the approach and the wording just a bit. But here's the thing. Don't overcomplicate it. Do yourself a favor, do your team a favor, do your customers a favor, and don't overcomplicate it. Keep it very, very simple, and you'll find success with these programs. So the good news is there's no right or wrong way to leverage them. For those of you who know me, I see a couple of my friends in the chat. I'm actually quite active on social media, but it's not a part of my strategy right now. Right now, I'm starting, let me rephrase that. Promoting Refer a Friend or the affiliate program is not part of my social media strategy right now. I'm leveraging these programs to really develop strong relationships with my customers. So it's person to person. I may supplement a little bit on social. I may eventually end up on social, but right now it's person to person. There's so much room for individuality with this. So these are just a few tips that I'm sharing here. Hopefully it'll kind of get the wheels spinning. You can come up with something that works for you and for your teams. Remember to be clear about your goals and let that guide you. And as you determine which programs that you're going to leverage, if you're going to leverage anything at all, and then be clear about your customers and your affiliates, be clear about their goals and let that guide how you approach and support them. And remember, y'all, these programs will not make or break your business. You have the power. You have had it all along. Thank you guys so much for having me. I can't wait to see what you do with these programs. Let me know, share your wins with me as well.